So as you can see here, this bag has a lot of ink stains on it, which we are going to need to remove, but it also has a great deal of colour loss, as you can clearly see. The bag's got an awful amount of colour loss. It's very difficult to sort of pick it up from the images, but hopefully you can sort of see the colour loss on there and see how bad that is. But we've obviously got all the ink stains on here. To restore this handbag correctly, you have to remove all of these ink stains in their entirety, or else you could have bleed through. We have seen a lot of companies sort of doing this where they're just removing it off the top surface and just leaving it very, very faint. That will eventually bleed through the colour, particularly on lighter colours and stuff like that. So you just got to bear that in mind, that you've got to remove them in their entirety or they will bleed through. So we're going to use a couple of different products here. We've got an ink and stain remover and we've got an alcohol cleaner. We've got some cotton buds, Q-tips, whatever you want to call them, and a terry towel. But to do this, obviously, we're going to have to remove some of the colour as well, to get rid of the ink stains, because we're going to completely restore the colour anyway. So let's proceed with starting to get rid of some of these ink stains. So it's a very sort of delicate process to begin with. You may have to go to stronger products, but if you can just sort of get some ink and stain remover on a Q-tip and just gently wipe over the surface, that will hopefully help to remove it. You can sort of see there where it's bringing the ink off the surface of the leather. And this is what we've got to do. We've got to go over the whole thing to remove all this very, very carefully. And then we're going to have to remove the colour as well. You can see there where it's bringing, the sort of ink stains off. If we bring that up closer, you can see there where it's bringing all the ink stains off. So again, swap over to a clean end. Get your cotton bud soaked in ink and stain remover and proceed over the surface again to remove the stains, and just keep proceeding over doing this until the stains have actually disappeared. But you've got to make sure that these ink stains have been removed fully from the surface so that you're able to recolor. Very, very simple. If you don't, you're going to have major problems with the ink stains bleeding through. You've got to make sure that they're all fully removed in their entirety. So you just got to keep going over the surface until they're all removed. We'll swap to a little bit of a cloth and remove some with a cloth as well to show you the difference of what they look like. So just gently rub this over. You don't want to rub this too vigorously hard. Just very, very gently rub this over the surface where you've just cleaned with the cotton buds. And then we're going to dry that with the hairdryer so that you can see how far we've proceeded with it. So as you can see, we've certainly got rid of some of them on the surface there. So we just need to continue going through with the cotton bud and just give them a second go. And then again, we can go to something more aggressive if we need to try to remove that, because we've got to make sure that we get these removed. And it could just be that you need to remove a little bit more than what you anticipate in colourways from the surface of the handbag so that we can then restore the item fully. You just got to keep removing forward. You can see that we're still getting ink coming off. Just got to keep going through and getting that done until it's done. It's a very slow process. You can't be very aggressive or use any other form of aggressiveness on here. But you just got to keep going through and removing it. So there's some colour there where we've done testing on it there to remove. And the ink has come right through the colour and obviously onto the bare leather itself. So you've got to make sure that you get all that removed. So again, let's proceed through with this and see what we can remove on the surface again, and just rub that through, and hopefully we're going to get all that removed. It's certainly removing more and more of the ink stains that's on the surface for sure, which is exactly what we need to achieve. Once you've got all those removed, you can obviously then proceed on with the full prep of the bag, and obviously then the colouring process as well. So let's use a little bit of alcohol cleaner this time over the surface, and hopefully that'll help to break those down as well. But you can't leave any of the ink stains on the surface, because you are just going to generate problems in the future, because with the ink being indelible, it's going to rise to the surface and come back through. So you've got to make sure that all of this is gone, and that may mean that you've got to remove a lot of the surface colour as well, just very, very gently going over the surface. It doesn't matter what direction you're going, but a lot of the time with colour loss, with ink, you are going to get colour loss on your item no matter what it is. No matter how good of a product you've got for removing ink and stains, you will, in most cases, have colour loss, and you will have to do a colour restoration on your leather item, no matter what it is, whether that's a handbag, car seat, a jacket or a sofa, or even a pair of shoes. You are going to have colour restoration carried out, because it will inevitably take off the surface coating, and then it will take off the coloured coating that sat on the surface of your item. So you just got to bear that in mind. There is no magical cure for this, so you just got to bear in mind that you are going to have to do a full colour restoration at some point. So you can see there where we're sort of getting that all removed, and it's working quite well. Let's give that a quick dry. So it's still drying. It's going to take a little while to dry, but we've virtually got rid of the ink stains that were on here. There was a big one here, there's another one here, and then another one here as well. And there was ink stains all here and down this side, and they're all gone. So that is exactly how you've got to proceed through, with removing the ink stains on here. But we're going to proceed and get the rest of these done, and then we're going to come back and we're going to show you the prepping stages of this handbag, and then the colouring stages. So this is going to be this handbag restoration that you're going to see here from LRC, and next stage is we're going to show you the prep stage. So the next stage with this handbag that we're restoring is going to be the leather prep stage. We have obviously got the alcohol cleaner, which is what we're going to use to remove some of the surface colour. Once we've got all the surface colour removed, the purpose of doing that is to remove any grease, grime, waxes, oils and silicones on the surface that could have been put on there with incorrect cleaning products or products that just contained chemicals like that that are not suitable for this type of leather. So what we're going to do with this to enable us to keep this soft and supple, we are going to apply a sealer over the surface, which will seal the leathers that you can see here, because this is extremely rough where it's been worn for years, and this should be a beautiful, soft, supple feeling item. So I mean, what we've got to do is to get this back to its original sort of colour, which is quite a sort of dark colour. As you can see, it's a very sort of dark brown colour, and you can see where we've done a test patch, you know, we've got it looking pretty good, you know, where the test patch has actually been carried out. So we've got to get the whole bag back to that, and what we're going to do is we're going to seal the leather over with the antique silk lacquer, antique cream silk lacquer. It gives like a sort of silk finish, but that's going to enable us to seal this surface over, make this super soft and supple, keep that suppleness and softness, feel and texture to the leather, and then we're going to put the colour that we've pre-mixed over the bag. As you can see here, it's already pre-mixed, which is then going to go over the bag, and that's going to be applied by a brush system rather than a sponge system, because we need to get the colour as thin as possible on the surface so that it retains all softness and suppleness without you know, going to the point where it's changing the feel of the bag, which is not what we're wanting to do here. We need to keep the feel of the bag exactly identical. So again, using alcohol cleaner onto the cloth, and you're just going to simply wipe over the surface. This is going to enable us to remove some of the oils, waxes and silicones on here. It's going to degrease it. It's going to make it ready for the new colour to be applied. You don't need to remove every single ounce of colour. This here was the item that had all of the ink and stain marks on it, which is now all gone. So we just need to continue over the bag and just removing a partial amount of colour just by simply going over it. You just got to go over the whole thing and just continue going. And this is obviously where this is very absorbent. Obviously this is making this handbag able to draw in grease and grime very, very easily. So we need to ensure that we give this a really good going over with the alcohol cleaner to ensure that you've got all those greases and silicons out, because this is quite an absorbent area here. Now, as you can see, the moment we touch this, it's literally absorbing in. So we need to make sure that that is really deep cleaned and that there is no silicones and waxes and things on the surface that could create a problem with the, you know, with the adhesion of the colour that's going to be going on here. Obviously we've got to make sure longevity is the key to any repair that we do. Obviously we're restoring the colour, but what you must understand is with any process of restoration or repair, there's a very key word in there, a very important key word in there. It is called repair. Obviously, no matter what company is doing work for you, our videos are designed to help you to carry out DIY processes at home so that you can understand the process and exactly what you need to do to restore your own leather handbags at home at a fraction of the cost of paying, you know, professional restoration companies. Obviously, it is a repair. Even if a professional restoration company is doing this, this is a repair. This is not going to be a brand new bag. It is going to look absolutely amazing. It's going to be an amazing improvement on, you know, going to be an amazing improvement upon what it was originally, but it is not a brand new bag. This is not going to be new leather put on here. What you are doing is you are putting the colour back onto the surface of the leather. So it is a repair, and that is very crucial that that is understood carefully what a repair is. Obviously, when leather skin is made, it is in a huge skin, depending on what type of animal that it comes from. Once the bag is put together, obviously you've got things like stitching. You've obviously got join lines, seams. When you are doing a repair or a restoration on a bag, you have to understand that these seams and stitch lines weren't on the leather originally. They were put on it as the bag was built, but it was coloured before this was done. So they were coloured as a sheet of leather, as a skin or a hide, and then they were cut out and patterned and then sewn together, already coloured. So when we are putting new colour on, you have to understand that stitching could be coloured over. It just can't be avoided. And you obviously can't quite get right down into seams because seams are quite deep. So if you can imagine a seam like that at the top here, you've got like the depth of seams no matter how deep they are. Obviously that's an exaggeration, but you can understand what we're saying. You've got to get right into that seam. It's impossible to almost get dyes and colours going straight down into them. But the process is obviously to prep the bag, is just going over the whole bag with the alcohol cleaner, and you just got to degrease everything. And you might find that because this is very absorbent that you need to give this 2 or 3 goes over, but that is the complete process of removing the colour and getting it ready for the new colour to be applied. But as we say, it is a repair. Please understand that with anything that you do on an item. This is not a replacement leather item. This is a repaired item. So it is a repair that is being carried out to a leather item. So it's a very, very important that no matter what company you use, we just hope that our help videos help you understand what is happening when you're repairing or restoring your bag, or you're getting it done by a professional. It is a repair. It is not a replacement of the leather. So you have to understand the limitations of a repair. Next video we're going to show you, after this in this series, is obviously the colouring of this bag with the colouring that we've already got here, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that and apply the colourant. We're not going to show you the whole bag, obviously. I'm just going to show you how to apply the colourant, and then you just proceed with that same application for the entire bag. Just as we've done here with the leather prep stages, you would proceed with that application method of preparation for the whole entire bag, including your handles. So again, you would do that throughout the whole bag, including like the inside pocket areas in here and in here. We'd need to remove the ink on these, but you'd proceed with the same application method throughout the whole bag before you would start to do the recolouring. And that's going to be up next. Right, the next stage is getting the antique cream silk lacquer sealer dressing applied to the surface. What that is going to do, it is going to seal over the surface completely, allowing the item to still breathe. So it's not going to be like 100% sealed. So it's going to seal the surface as far as the roughness is concerned. It's going to allow the leather to still breathe. It's going to make it soft and supple. It's going to soften the leather as well as it seals over. And it's going to allow the painting process of the dye to go on like you've got here, which as you can clearly see is perfectly blending in. Even though this is faded, it's really blending in quite beautifully, with the rest of the leather. As you can see, it's looking absolutely fantastic. So it's going to look stunning once it's done. So that is the stage that we're at now. So this can be applied by sponge. Give it a little bit of a shake. Get some applied to the sponge. Get it to soak into the sponge like so. And then we're just going to apply that over the surface of the whole item like so. And what that's going to do, it's going to, as I say, it's going to give us a coating on there to get rid of all that roughness that we've got in these areas where the leather is worn really badly. So we've got to get rid of that roughness. So this is actually going to help us do that, and it's going to seal the surface of this handbag. It's going to keep the handbag feeling soft and supple and luxurious, but it's going to seal that over. So you just got to get that done over the whole area of the handbag to ensure that it's sealed perfectly and that the new colour can then go on and be completely uniformed and beautiful, but have that aged patina look to it, which is exactly what we're wanting to achieve here on this particular bag, is to get the aged patina look. And you can sort of see how that's going to look with just the way this is going on and sealing over, with how it's putting richness and goodness back into the bag. Once the colourant goes on there as well, the dye sort of colour goes on there, you can sort of tell what that's going to look like. So you've got to get rid of all the bubbles and things that obviously gets created, but you've got to make sure that you get into everything as well where there's roughness. But that is looking amazing already. But this is what you've got to do to the whole bag, is just go over and seal it with this particular product over the whole unit of the bag. You're going to do that on everything, including these areas here, which we'll do on those for you so you can see. So just get it on the item like so, and just go over the bag and seal that all in. You don't need to flood it or anything like that. You're just getting a really fine coating on there of this sealer to go over it and seal that in. And you can see how it's sort of like making the colour come back. And we've always got a few patches on here, which is understandable. So we just got to make sure that these, where you got like the dry areas, you get those done so it seals it, because this has gone very rough and very fibrous like a suede. So we need to bring that back down with the antique cream silk lacquer sort of sealer dressing. So it's going to do that, and it's going to seal that over, and it's going to look absolutely fantastic. So that is the stage that we're at now. We're going to get the whole bag done, and then we are going to begin the colouring process of this item. So that is next. Okay guys, as this bag has a very aged antique look to it, we need to obviously recreate that look that you've got on the inside here. So we've got to recreate this mottled antique look on the outside. So the process of colouring now, it's all sealed over with the antique silk dressing sealer. We've now got to apply a single coat of colour and then very, very lightly take some of that off with the alcohol cleaner and then apply the proper colour over the top. So that's what we're going to do first of all. We're going to apply the actual base colour on here. So as you can see, that's the one that we've got mixed up, and then we have the second colour to go over the top, which is what we call the sort of antiquing side of it. So we've got to get this colour on. What we're not trying to do is obliterate the item with colour. We've got to try to get the colour on there lightly and sympathetically as well. So you've got to get enough colour on there to then wipe some of it off. As you can see, it's sort of going on there and getting that sort of antique-y look, which is exactly what we need to achieve with this item. It's obviously not an easy one with all the pleats and things, so you're going to get like little lighter patches, darker patches, etc, etc. But I mean, that's all part and parcel of the antique look this particular bag had, and that's what we're trying to recreate, is that sort of warm antique look that it had originally on the surface when it was brand new. But like we said at the beginning, you've got to remember, with anything like this that you do, these are repairs. You are not replacing the leather at all. That is a repair that is being carried out, but we've got to try to get it so it looks something like it did do obviously originally, and that's what we're trying to achieve here with this. So it's not an easy process by any means. It's a process of having two different colours made up so that we can sort of get that on the surface and then wipe some of it off and then apply the second colour. But what you don't want to do is to obviously achieve streak lines on the surface, which is what we're trying to avoid by going in different directions. You're keeping the suppleness of the handbag, the softness, its luxury soft feel and touch, and it's going to be looking fantastic. As you can clearly see, we're getting that beautiful patina coming through there with that golden rich sort of oak sort of golden rich sort of colour that it's got. So I mean, that's coming through beautifully and it's looking absolutely fantastic. You just got to slowly build it up, and then we're going to take some of it off. We don't want any streaks, so we've got to keep getting those streak lines evened out so we're not getting those streaks, because that's not what we don't want to achieve, the streaking in it. We've got to make sure that we get a nice even sort of colour that looks beautiful on the surface, and that's exactly what we've got to try to achieve. You don't want to load the pad up with too much, just very, very light amounts, and just straight over the surface again, trying to even it out as you go. It's going to go a little bit darker before it goes lighter. You've got to just bear that in mind. It will go slightly darker before we get the second coat on there, and once we've got this first coat on, we'll then take some of it off to reveal the lightness, and then put the second coat on over the top, which will then reveal its colours of how we want it to look. But you can sort of see the difference there. It's looking absolutely fantastic. We can dry that with a hairdryer now. But it's certainly looking absolutely fantastic now. And this is obviously inside here, is all the original. And as you can see, it's looking quite remarkable. Exactly like we want it to look. So I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. So the next stage now is to get the alcohol cleaner, and we're going to wipe a little bit of this away. So again, load your cloth up with the alcohol cleaner, which is this one here. Load it up with that, and just very, very lightly wipe over the surface. You don't want to go rubbing it too hard. You're just lightly wiping over the surface, just to try to remove a very small amount of the colourant dye that's just been put on there. so it can reveal a little bit of character and patina to gain this beautiful, soft, supple two-tone look again on the item. Again, dry. And that is really starting to look absolutely superb. It's looking brilliant. It's just getting those characters right, which is exactly what we need it to achieve. And where this area is not so worn here, you know, it's looking, when you start looking at the inside here, just look at that. It's looking absolutely identical to that, and it's looking absolutely beautiful. It's fantastic, and it's back to how it was. So this is what we call a proper, beautiful, sympathetic restoration on here. And, you know, the repair process is going really well. So, I mean, you can sort of see here, you know, where we've not done, the colour absolutely blends in perfectly. It looks absolutely superb. We've not even done that bit yet. So, I mean, it's looking absolutely superb. It's looking fantastic. So the next stage is to get the slightly different shade of brown over the top. Again, we want this very, very thin to go over the top. So again, small amount on the pad, take most of it off, and then we're going to go over the pad very, very lightly over the surface to put the colour on there again, and just give it a slight different sort of sheen of brown to give it character, patina, and to build that colour up, and it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. The colours coming through now are looking stunning. It's looking fantastic. So again, you've got to move fast because you don't want to create any streaks or lines with this, so you've got to move really fast with it, but it really is looking absolutely brilliant. We're then going to rub a little bit of this off again with the alcohol. Like we said, it's going to go a little bit darker before it goes lighter, and then we'll rub a little bit of it off with the alcohol to reveal all the characters that we really want it to reveal. But it's looking superb. Looking absolutely fantastic. So again, we're going to dry that through, and then we're going to reveal all the characters that it's got, and it's going to look absolutely brilliant. But looking at the original, you know, it's looking absolutely mega. It's looking fantastic. Try to get it as close as we can. Look at that. Looking absolutely fantastic. It's looking brilliant. So, amazing result. So a little wipe over again with the alcohol. Get it to a cleanish area on your cloth. Fresh bit of alcohol, and just very, very, very lightly wipe over the surface to reveal a little bit of wear in areas to get that sort of two-tone look, and to soften the surface again to reveal some beautiful characters and patina. Looking amazing. And that, folks, is how you're going to restore the look of your beautiful sort of like oak bark, sort of two-toned handbags. Any help and tips that you need with restoring any of your leather items, head on over to the website leatherrepaircompany.com. We have a help centre, or you can email us help@leatherrepaircompany.com. You just need to follow that process now through the rest of the bag, and that is exactly how you're going to restore a handbag. Thank you very much, guys. Well, that's the Osprey bag all completed. The restoration is completely done, and it's back to looking original. Or the handle has been repaired, the sewing has been done, and it's all back looking absolutely beautiful, two-toned as it should do to match the interior. As you can clearly see, a beautiful match, perfectly restored. That is the Osprey leather bag, how to restore a leather handbag. Hop on over to the website if you want to learn how to do this, leatherrepaircompany.com. We have training courses to teach you how to restore handbags, or we have the DIY kits along with this video to help you do that. Thank you very much, guys.